What's going on, you guys? Thanks for tuning into another video. So guys, I got an exciting one for you today. We're going to be jumping into another one of our tech videos, this time not on brawlers, but on the game modes in Brawl Stars. So I'll be pointing out various mechanics on different game modes in the game so that you guys can play upon them and practice so you can get a leg up against the enemy team that you're going up against. So hopefully you guys find these mechanics useful. Let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so before we jump into anything, I just gotta go over a few quick announcements. So if you don't want to see this, go ahead and skip ahead to the mechanics. But the very first one is a quick shout out to the Brawl Stars blog. They wrote an article on one of my videos. It's a really cool long read. They went in depth on the first brawler tech video that I did, and they wrote all the tips down. So if you guys want to see it in a different format and take notes and tips and stuff like that on the text that we covered in that video, make sure to check the link down below. They wrote an awesome article and I really enjoyed reading it. So if you guys want to check that out, the link in the description will be down below. Also, you guys, many of you guys know I like to stream on Sundays at 5 p.m. Central Time. Obviously, I wasn't able to do that last night because the video that I made yesterday took me so long to make for some reason. So I'm going to be doing a makeup stream tonight at 5 p.m. Central Time, that's CST. So if you guys want to come down and hang out with us, play some Duo Showdown and have some fun, I'd really love to see you there. Also, moving forward, the schedule is going to be I'm going to stream every single Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time. So I just want to make sure that you guys are all in the loop on when I'm scheduling the stream because you guys all seem to like the streams and I love doing them as well. So those are the stream dates moving forward every single week. Alright guys, so without any further ado, let's get right into these game mode mechanics. So the very first one that we're going to be taking a look at is on the game mode gem grab. Personally, one of my favorite game modes in all of Brawl Stars, but you all know the main premise behind gem grab. It's whoever collects 10 gems first activates a timer, and if you have 10 gems until the very end, your team ends up winning. Now the mechanic lies in the countdown and the number of gems that spawns when the countdown is going. Now I see the time and time again, whenever a team collects the 10 gems, their first reaction is to fall back, and that's granted. You should collect the 10 gems and protect those 10 gems while the countdown is going down. Now in most circumstances, this is fine to do. However, you need to pay attention to the score of the enemy team. If the enemy team has 8 or 9 gems to your 10, you have to keep control over the center mine, because in the 15 seconds of the countdown, there will be a total of 2 gems that spawn during that time. So if you allow them to get control over the center mine and you only have a 1 to 2 gem lead, you need to keep control over that center mine because the 2 gems are going to spawn no matter what in that 15-second counter, and then they'll collect them, tie it up, and then you have to get control over the center mine again, and that can be very hard to do. So make sure if you're within that bracket where it's 10 to 9, 10 to 8, you need to keep control over that center mine. So the next mechanic is in Brawl Ball. So whenever a team scores a goal, the match resets and you all go back to the spawn and the ball is in the middle of you guys, kind of like a drop-in in any kind of sport game. Whoever gets the ball first gains possession. So the mechanic lies in the map reset itself. So whenever a team scores the goal and everything is wiped clear, there are things that can still linger, and those things being lingering supers. So for example, Barley's super and Spike's super are ones that have duration to it. So if you end up, or if you're lucky enough to have a super laid down on where the enemy team is going to spawn, they will take the effects of that super. A good example would be Spike's super. If you have his super laid down, they will feel the effects of the slow so that you can get the ball quicker than the enemy team and have that leg up with getting the possession of the ball quicker. Now another really interesting thing about this mechanic, and my favorite part about it, is that when the match resets, it doesn't just clear the things off, it destroys them. So anything with a death mechanic in the game will be activated. Now we only have one element in the entire game that activates upon death, and that's Penny's star power with her mortar. Whenever it's destroyed, all the mortar balls fly out and sporadically go everywhere. It's not that crazy good of a star power, but it activates upon the match reset, which is very interesting. Now the reason I love this mechanic so much is not because of Penny's mortar being able to be activated or anything like that. It's by looking forward in the future. If we get other brawlers to this game that have a death element, whenever they die something happens, we'll be able to take advantage of that with this mechanic, and I feel like that is really interesting and cool to look forward to. Moving on to the next mechanic, and that's on the game mode Heist. Now we touched on this in a previous tech video where you can use Daryl's super to motor up the map close to the safe while the enemy team is frantically funneling back trying to get you while you're dealing off massive amounts of damage to the safe. Now this mechanic is super important to know of and practice because it is basically the strategy revolving around all heist games. You can use it with several other brawlers. You don't have to just do it with Daryl, though Daryl is a bit better at it than most of the other brawlers because he has more range with his super. However, brawlers that also work are brawlers that have a lot of mobility with their super. For example, Bull is very good at this as well. He doesn't have as much distance with his super as Daryl does. However, he has an element with his super that he can clear obstacles. So he can shoot straight through the wall to the safe. You don't have to angle it such like you would with Daryl. You can just go right through the safe and get to it. Also, it helps out breaking the wall so that your other brawlers can funnel in and do damage to the safe as well. Another brawler that can do this very well too is Crow. With his super, he can jump straight on the safe and deal massive amounts of damage. And just for a general tip that I'd recommend everyone that does this with the main attacker on your team that can jump in with their super and get close to the safe is make sure that you have a full bar of ammo. Don't unload your ammo on an enemy brawler and then dash in. It works the best, say you're Crow, and jumping in with a full reserve of ammo so that you can get off those 3 bursts and get as much damage as you can before the enemy team funnels in. Now, I can't forget to mention El Primo, a fan favorite in the Brawl Stars community. He can do this mechanic as well, being that he can jump with his super. Now, he, much like Bull, has that environmental clearing ability with his super, so it's very good for your team, being that you can destroy the walls and then your team can funnel in. Now, another thing that I really wanted to bring up about this mechanic is how to activate it at the proper time. So I'd highly recommend to activate it whenever you're sort of at a stalemate in the middle of the map. Being that, one, if you dash in, you're not at an immediate risk for the enemy team to conjugate on your safe and deal a massive amount of damage while you're up there not being able to defend against the enemy team's push. And two, most of the time when you're in the middle of the map and you dash up, the enemy team's first reaction is to funnel back and try to get you that is dashing up. And while this is happening, your team can also advance and deal massive amounts of damage. It's just a great element to practice and make sure that you're doing it at the right time so that you can get the most damage out of your attack push. Moving on to the next mechanic, and we're taking a few steps back to the game mode gem grab. So I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know about this if you're newer to the game, and that in every given game of gem grab, there is a limit of gems that spawn in every single game. Now, your boy Ray has definitely made this mistake before because it's very easy to forget that there's a gem limit in every single game of 29 gems. So if you're at a crazy stalemate with the enemy team, you just can't get the upper hand on them, eventually the gems will stop spawning. And normally the score will be like 14 to 15. Now, once the score is reaching that limit, you know you have to do something. If there are already 29 gems being spawned in the game, you know you have to make an effort to kill one of the players that have some gems. Now, the cool thing about this mechanic is that a lot of people don't know about it, so you can take advantage of that. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where the game stops spawning gems because you reached the limit, most of the time the enemy team is going to try to continue keeping control, not knowing that they already have the game in the bag. So you can take advantage of that, being that maybe a brawler might be a little bit too aggressive, trying to gain control over that center mine, and then you can kill them and pick up their gems. Make sure to keep in mind the amount of the gems that are being spawned in the game, though it might be a little bit difficult if the game has progressed that far and it's that crazy of a match. But if you have that leg up on the enemy team, it might give you just that amount of edge that you need in order to win that match in gem grab. So the final mechanic that we're going to be taking a look at in today's video is somewhat of a simpler one, and that's on the game mode Brawl Ball. So to have some context for this mechanic, one of the most important strategies in Brawl Ball is destroying environment in front of the goal. And there's several brawlers that are really good at this, being Colt, Primo, Bull, and any other brawler that can destroy walls with their super. So the mechanic lies whenever a game goes into overtime. So when you guys are tied up and the time limit goes to 0, the game is going to go into overtime. And when the game enters overtime, every single barrier is destroyed on the map. So with this in mind, it's super important to understand that if you have your super with a brawler that can destroy barriers, hold it and save it until the overtime comes. Because you using that super on a wall when it's getting close to the overtime mark can be a waste. In Brawl Ball, it can be somewhat difficult for certain brawlers to even level up their super. So I would recommend, if the time is getting close to overtime, save your super so that you can use it against the other brawlers once you enter overtime. So you guys, those are all the mechanics that we're going to be taking a look at in today's video. Let me know down below if they helped you out, if you found the information in this video useful. It would really help me out because I would love to make another one of these videos in the future too. Also, I have plans on making other tech videos on the brawlers that we haven't covered yet in our previous tech videos, on more game mode tech videos, and I'm planning on making a super tech video. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, make sure to let me know in the comments down below as well. So guys, with that being said, hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Make sure to keep having fun with Brawl Stars. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.